Well, hello, we are live. Hey there, welcome to the Gut Love Live session. It's Karen Haley, the digestive coach for moms, and I'm here with you today. And no, it is not 2 o'clock Eastern time on a Thursday. We're doing a little day switch up here. Well, no, not a day switch up, a time switch up. Sorry about that. We're doing a little time switch up. It is Thursday, but here's the thing. We're moms here, and you guys know that school is about to let out. So since school's about to let out, I decided that I would make a little change because it's time to get ready to enjoy some mom time. The kids are going to be out of school. It's time to not have the rushed, busy day affect us. We don't have time to take a break during that time. So it's time to just relax in the evening after the kids go to bed. So I'm hoping you're going to do that with me. I hope you'll join me for this new time change. I know you know if you have been watching the Gut Love Live sessions, and thank you so much. You know that they're typically at 2 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, but I'm going ahead and changing that up. It's now going to be 9 p.m. on Thursday nights. So join me. Go ahead, take a break, get a glass of wine. I wish I had wine with me. I actually don't have any wine in the house. What is wrong with me? Why don't I have wine in the house? I don't have any wine in the house, but I do have my cup of tea. So take a load off and join me. Hello, if you're live with me, say hi. Let me know that you're live. Would love to hear from you. So I do have to show you guys, look at this. This is my new poop guy. Check him out. He flies. How cute is that? So he's going to join us for the Gut Love Live session today. And today, if I can get him to stand up, how's that? Okay, so today it's all about this 3-part series that I'm doing. Your 7 must-do steps if you want to start healing your gut naturally today. So, and I remember this place really well. I remember, actually, I was stuck in this place for a long time, and I'm talking maybe like 5-10 years. I was stuck there. The place of indecision. The place where you know there's a different way. You're sick and tired of the medications, of the doctors, of not feeling any better, and you know that there is a way out, but you just don't know how to walk through that door. You don't know how to take that first step, right? Do you know what I'm talking about? I was there for a long time, and I don't want that to happen to you because I've got your steps. I've got your step-by-step plan, the things that if you want to just, maybe you're not ready for a huge healing plan, a huge diet, if you will. You're not ready to make big lifestyle changes, but you want to just take that leap. You want to just do one thing. If you know that you want to do that, then this is definitely the video for you to watch. So this is definitely a standalone video. If you're watching this and you didn't see part 1, it's okay because you can still get the tips we're going to talk about today. But if you want even more tips, even more information to help you on that gut healing journey, do yourself a favor and you don't have to do it right now, but when it's convenient for you, do yourself a favor and go check out part 1 of this series. So this is part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, go check it out. Tip 1 and tip 2 are there, those first tips to get you started. Today we're going to talk about tip 3 and tip 4, and then next week we'll finish up this series with the rest of the tips. Sound good? Okay, so whether you're watching this in the replay or you're watching it live, tell me, how did you do? How did those tips work for you? Did you just get off to the races and was it like gung-ho and did you do really well with them? Or was it kind of a struggle? So let me know, no judgment here because we're all moms and we know we only have so much time in a day. So no judgment here. Don't worry about if it didn't work out for you. I'm just curious. Let me know in the comments how that worked out for you. We're going to keep working at it because we have to be forgiving of ourselves. We have to give ourselves time. Remember in the last one, if you saw the last series, the last part 1 in this series, I talked about how it's really difficult to form a new habit. And we have to tie that habit to an old habit in order for it to work. And it really takes time. So we're just here for each other and we're just going to keep moving forward because that's what it's all about. It's all about just moving forward. Okay, so let's get started. This is tip number 3. Tip number 3 in your 7 must-do tips if you want to start healing your gut naturally and you want to start today. Tip number 3 is this. eat real food, or maybe not. I'm a little cryptic with my tips, but I'm going to explain it to you. So it's eat real food, or maybe not. So I know that you've heard all these sayings before. I know you've heard it. You've heard, just eat organic and you'll heal. You've heard, you have to eat a rainbow. You've heard, eat local, eat sustainable, eat raw, right? We're just bombarded with this information, and we're told if only you would eat in this one particular way, you're going to heal. Boom, magically, all of your problems will go away, right? We are bombarded with that all the time. But I'm going to tell you the truth here. The truth is that if I lined up, I've got Crohn's disease. If I lined up 10 moms with Crohn's disease, the thing that healed us all would all be different. That's because our body makeup is different. Our gut bacteria and our microbiome is different. So the kind of food that would help heal me is not the same kind of food that would help heal you. We are all completely different in this world. So don't let anybody tell you if you only did this one thing, because it isn't about that. Healing is about finding that one thing that works for you. And that's why it's so difficult, because wouldn't it be so much easier if we could just look at 50 other women and say, oh, that worked for them. But with Crohn's, with colitis, with chronic diarrhea or chronic constipation, or sometimes it's even both when we have IBS, right? With those kinds of things, it's actually really tough to pinpoint it and to figure it out. And when we're talking about food, you can actually do this tip like a mom. That's what I like to call when you're doing it right, you're doing it with gusto, you're doing what you need to do to heal. I call that doing it like a mom. So if you want to do this tip like a mom, here's my advice for you. Keep a food journal. This is how you're going to figure out what's actually going on with you. What are your triggers? What are the foods that you can eat? What are the foods you can't eat? And I know you're glazing over right now. I know it. I know that nobody wants to do a food journal. This is actually the first thing I do with every client I work with, and the groans I get. I know it's kind of annoying. It's kind of boring. You have to stop and write down your food all the time, and it's hard because sometimes when we write down what we're eating every day, sometimes it's like, did I really eat that? Or sometimes it can affect what you eat. But trust me, this is the quickest path to figure out your individual plan for what you should be eating. So what you're going to do, if you've never done a food journal before, what you're going to do, and actually the cool thing about this is that there's so many ways to food journal now. So you could do it in just straight journal form. You could just write out everything that you had. It's also important when you do this journaling to write out your mood for the day, what happened with your poops for the day, so that you can put the big picture together. If you had a really stressful day, you better believe that's going to affect your time spent in the bathroom, right? So you want to just write those things down. But if that just sounds like something you really don't have time for, I urge you to get on board with technology, because you can do this with technology too. We all have our phones. In fact, mine's right here next to me, right? We always have our phones close by to us. So maybe you could do this on your phone. If you're a mom that loves to do a selfie, if you love to take pictures, if your phone is constantly near you, why don't you just talk into it and just say, hey, for lunch I had the chicken salad and the tea and a side of French fries, or whatever it is that you had. You're just going to talk into it, and then you can go back later and listen to it. And when you do this for 3 to 5 days, okay, so I'm not talking a really long time, just 3 to 5 days, you're going to start to see patterns that show up. Maybe you had a lot of gas after you ate that meal that had lots of dairy in it. Maybe you noticed that on a day when you were really stressed, you craved salty food, right? So when you do this, you're going to start to see little patterns emerge that will help you figure out your own personal you are what you eat plan. Because here's the truth about that saying. I'm sure you've heard that saying, right? We've all heard that. You are what you eat. The truth is, you're not what you eat. You are what your body can digest and absorb. And like I said, that's different for everybody. So you don't need to listen to people telling you have to eat raw, you have to eat this, you have to eat that, try this diet, the cabbage soup, the this, the paleo, whatever it is. It's very individual. And doing it like a mom means keeping that food diary, that food journal, and that's going to give you the information that you need to get started. Okay, so that was tip number 3 in our 7-tip series. Let's move on and talk about tip number 4. And tip number 4 is, I know you guys are going to like this one. This is a tough one, but stay away from the pantry. Just step back, just walk away. And I know it's so much easier said than done. So I want to just give a caveat here that I don't mean you always have to stay away from the pantry. I just mean try as hard as you can to eat foods that are whole, eat foods that are fresh, foods that don't need to be processed or packaged. Right? Does that make sense? And don't beat yourself up about it, right? You're just at that starting point. You're just at that starting point where you're saying, I want to heal my gut. I don't really know how yet. I'm not quite sure, but I just want to get started. So don't beat yourself up and feel like, oh, I have to put a padlock on my pantry. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying as much as you can, you want to walk away from the pantry so nobody gets hurt. Okay, so here's the thing about food, and here's why you want to stay away from the pantry. Food should actually go bad. Food should actually go bad, right? Well, when we process, package, box, can our food, it actually slows that process down of food going bad. And the way that food manufacturers make it happen is they add additives, they add preservatives, they add chemicals, colors, flavorings to all of this processed food that goes in your pantry. And when that happens and you eat those things, you are just completely disrupting your gut. Because those things, the chemicals, the additives, the preservatives, they're all gut disruptors. And so that's why we want to stay away from those things. It's more than, oh, it's just not good for you or you're going to gain weight if you eat those things. When we are moms with gut issues, we really have to think about that because all of those things that they put in the packaged foods, they are all gut disruptors. So we want to try and stay away from those. So keeping in mind then, if we can't always stay away from those things, and we sometimes need to eat them, I really want you to start being really careful about reading your labels. And when I say your label, I'm not talking about the nutrition facts panel. This has 2% fat and 5% this, and right, this has so many grams of sugar. I'm not talking about that part. The part I'm actually talking about are the ingredients themselves, because that's even more important. It's more important to look at the ingredients. You want to know what's in the food you're eating. And if you look at it and you see an ingredient that a 5th grader couldn't pronounce, then you'll want to step away from it. It's not something you want to be eating, okay? So, and how do you do this like a mom, right? I love that, doing these tips like a mom, because we're moms and we're different. So we do things a little differently. So how can you do this tip, the walk away from the pantry tip? How can you do that tip like a mom? Here's what you're going to do. Remember, we want to focus on whole fruits, whole vegetables, organic meats, that kind of thing. But when I say that, I want you to know that I don't mean that that has to be fresh. Does not mean raw. And sometimes when we're healing from our gut struggles, sometimes those raw foods, they can just be really irritating to our gut and they can be really difficult to digest. So doing it like a mom means it doesn't have to be roots and berries and sprouts all the time. It means you can still eat your fruits and vegetables, but they can be cooked. So if you find that your gut just feels kind of soothed and it just kind of feels better when you eat things that are cooked, I want you to do that. I want you to go for it and do that. It does not always have to be raw. As your gut heals, you'll find that then you're able to eat more raw foods. Make sense? Okay, so those are your 2 tips for today. And your homework is, over the week, I want you to just start practicing those things. If you already incorporated tips 1 and 2 from the last video, now I want you to start working on these. Okay? And if those were a struggle for you, that's okay. Keep working on those and you can add these tips in when you're ready, right? No judgment here, no pressure. We're just going to do the best we can because that's all we can do. And when we do the best we can with this, you're definitely going to start to see results. I promise you. Okay, so those were your tips. Let's kind of do a quick recap so you know what all those tips have been. So, because so far in these series, we did part 1 and part 2, we've done 4 tips. So those tips were, number 1 was let the fluid flow. Remember that tip? We talked about how it doesn't just have to be water. There's actually other things that you can be drinking throughout the day to benefit your gut. Tip number 2 was about the Sandman. It was about getting more sleep. We talked about there's certain hours. You remember we talked about those certain hours of the day being the gut restoration hours. And I said day, but I didn't mean day. Those certain hours of the night being those gut restoration hours. So you want to be sleeping during those hours. And then today in part 2, we talked about eating real food, but eating the real food that your body can digest and absorb. And that's different from everybody else. And then lastly, we talked about staying away, stepping away from the pantry, trying to focus on those whole, fresh foods, not necessarily raw, but whole and fresh. And those 4 things, if you can incorporate those things, you can make them a habit in your life, you can start to make changes that will seriously affect your gut. Okay, so that's it for today. Did you like this video? Did you like this information? My phone is trying to talk to me, even though it's on vibrate. But anyway, maybe you didn't hear that. So if you like this video and you think that it would help other moms, feel free to share it. Share it with them so that everybody can get a little bit more gut love in their lives. And if you want to get a little more gut love in your life, then I urge you to join the Gut Love Community for Moms. What is that? It's a community. It's a gut love community, and it's for moms. It's just for moms who are trying to work hard to balance motherhood with digestive troubles, with gut struggles. It's difficult when you're a mom and you're dealing with gut issues like Crohn's or colitis or IBS or even just undiagnosed chronic diarrhea or chronic constipation.
Sorry, I'm having trouble with the connection.
Do you hear that?
Again in a moment.
Okay, now I bet you hear it. Okay, I'm going to turn it off and I'm going to set it over here. So hopefully Siri won't bother us again. But back to the Gut Love community. If you feel like it would be a good fit for you, if you're working on balancing motherhood with gut struggles, then definitely come over and check it out. The link to join, and it's completely free. I call it fabulous and free. It's a completely free group where you're going to get support from other moms. That link, I think in the Facebook Live, it would be above this video, and in the YouTube, it'll be below the video. So just find the link around this video and you can join the Gut Love Community for Moms. And when you do, you will get support from moms who know exactly what you're going through. You know, I think it's great to have friends and family where you can talk to them about it, but it's just not the same as having somebody that really understands what you're going through. I want you to have that, and you can have that in this community. There's free masterclasses just for the moms in this community where we talk about all things gut health. There's recipes that get emailed to you weekly, and there's also the place where you can get your burning questions answered right there in the community for moms. So if you haven't joined us yet, what are you waiting for? Definitely click the link either above or below this video and join the Gut Love Community for Moms today. That's all for now, you guys, and I hope that you have a wonderful night. I hope that you can find some time to relax without the kids, to enjoy at least a cup of tea, maybe a glass of wine. I really want that for you. I'll be back here again next week. I know I changed the time up on you, but we're going to definitely stay with this. I like the evening time. I think it's going to be that time for all of us moms to just take a break after the long, busy day that happens in the summer, right? So until we meet again, and that'll be next Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, I want to wish you much gut love and much happiness always. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.